Hey, I'm Jonathan Braylock,
I'm Luke Job.
And Sergio.
and this is the floor play.
Music.
All right. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Everyone who is tuning in this week, you are in for a really special treat. This is the Floor Play Podcast. We are talking season 4 of Fox's game show, The Floor, hosted by Rob Lowe. And we are coming off an epic, record breaking, monumental, game shifting, changing, an absolute incredible banger.
Worth
Absolutely.
shattering.
I really don't think you can give another too many adjectives for this because it was something to behold. So many news, so many firsts happened in this episode, and we are joined by somebody who was a part of one of these firsts, the absolutely incredible Jason. Welcome.
What's up? Hey.
Jason.
Jason, thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who don't know, like there are a few really great other podcasts that recap the floor. We're going to do some of that too, but what we really love to get into, of course, is the strategy and the gameplay and the thinking behind that. That's our focus. But we do also love to know how people got their journey started. So Jason, before we even get into the madness that was episode 4, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history with the floor, how you decided to audition for it, and that whole process leading up to getting to Ireland.
I can do that. I'm going to forewarn you all that it's an emotional journey. So this week, a year ago, unfortunately, I lost my job. And I know that it's at a time where a lot of people are losing their jobs. So I want to recognize that. Mine was due to sort of leadership where they just weren't competent. And at that same time, Hurricane Helene destroyed several of our homes back in North Carolina, the communities that we were a part of. And then my best friend at the time also just lost her mom unexpectedly. So at that time, again, this time last year, when she lost her mom, that resurfaced a lot of the grief that I was still going through with the loss of my own. So I went through a couple months I was in depression, identity loss. I'm in a small town of Helena. The job brought me out. I had 15 plus years in it. And so during that time, I get this, we also had just bought a house. So there was that added stress and layer to it. And in December, I get this random message on Instagram from Big Brother contestant Rachel Riley asking if I have any interest in applying for a game show called The Floor, hosted by Rob Lowe. And if I'm interested, if she can persuade me anymore, it's filmed in Ireland. And I just essentially was like, that's a scam. And just put it to the side
Fair.
for about over a week. And it's Christmas Eve. My sister and my husband were all together, and I don't know what brought it up, but I was like, so I have this crazy thing that I need to share with you all. I got reached out to apply for a show, and I think it's a scam, thinking that my husband would be like, absolutely 100% it's a scam. Yeah, just block it.
Right.
Instead, both of them busted out with their hands up. They're like, why haven't you replied? And so I did. I replied. I said, yeah, I'd be down for a phone call. Rachel called me about a week later. She was diving right into it. Very energetic personality. If you haven't seen her on the floor, on Big Brother. So we chat and she goes right into it. And I said, I need you to pause. I need you to explain 2 things to me. Why me? And how the hell did you find me?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
So I have never seen The Floor before until that message. What a great show. We chatted and she explained to me, she laughed. She was like, listen, I've been contracted out by the casting collective to reach out to folks in Montana, Idaho, and Alaska, because in game show history, essentially, there's a lack of representation.
Right.
And I said, cool. You still have a big question to ask. How? Me? Why? And she says, I start with each of the state capitals And on Instagram, I search the state capitals, and you, sir, tag a lot of your photos of being in Helena, Montana. And she's like, I did a deep dive. You seem like you're quite a personality. You're an artist. You've explored drag. You host karaoke nights, all this sort of stuff. You just seem like you have a personality. So meanwhile, I might give a little back end information, but my husband is in the room with me and he's heckling me. And I'm just like, Michael, I said, excuse me, Rachel, Michael, shut up. And I get back on the phone. I was like, Rachel, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, who is that? I said, oh, it's my husband. She goes, oh, I like him. Would he apply? So he did in fact apply. His future is still yet to be determined for the show. But it was fun. We both applied for it in hopes that we would be on the same season.
Right.
So that was it. She just reached out.
That's incredible. You were literally headhunted for this show. And that's amazing. And anybody who maybe, I don't know why you wouldn't know this, but because this is such a nerdy podcast, and if you're listening and you don't understand what's happening, that's incredible. But there is a theme this year for the floor, which is Battle of the States. So the producers really wanted to get two people from represented by every single state. So that makes sense why they hired people to try to reach out to people in those like states like Montana.
Sounds like she did more stalking than looking.
I'm here for it.
Gnarly.
That's what she has to do.
I like it.
It's awesome that she mentioned Idaho and Montana, and now you and Ty have both won money on the show.
That's right.
That's just so dope.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that, Jason. That $10,000 for one duel, right? First off, you get randomized. Talk us through that. What's that feeling?
Oh my God. So I don't know if you all can relate to this, but many of us are on the floor, I think, are tired of the PTSD and the anxiety of the randomizer going off.
Right.
Like, is it going to select me every time? It still haunts me. Like rewatching the shows. Like, I know I'm not actually competing now, but you relive it. And so getting randomized, I just kept being in the mic, like, choose me, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, choose me, I'm ready. And when it finally lands on me, I just remember jumping super high, what felt like super high. I was just ecstatic.
Easily 6 feet.
And yeah, easily. And
white men can jump.
And you're just you're just filled with excitement, anxiety, nerves, like thousands of thoughts are going into your head per second. But meanwhile, like before the randomizer hits, you're constantly having to rethink your strategy because it is a game of chance.
Right.
Like there is just no one way. Sometimes some people, next thing you know, like in episode 4, they do a category steal and take out their friends. Like,
right.
That's insane. So a big part of my strategy coming in, and I'm sorry, by episode 2, I realized, let's not do this for the money. Let's do this because this is freaking fun.
Oh, okay. I love that.
And it's like, let's just really enjoy this ride. I really grew a liking to the people that were around me. When I first came in, I didn't want to know people's names. I just wanted to associate them by their categories. Part of that strategy
was sociopath.
Well, here's the thing, Luke. Like, all right, so I spent my 8th grade to 12th grade in military school. And so one of the things that I've always liked are nicknames or using last names. First names feel really personal. And so I'm someone who can really, I don't know, like get deep into an experience. And having been a summer camper and a summer camp counselor, the bonds that you make in these moments can be really, really strong. And I didn't want to be emotionally invested in the people. Already, that was really hard to do. Like I had Demetrius and Molly nearby. Heather went home too soon. I loved the people I was surrounded by. I had many bus rides with Tom. So I'd posted in one of my stories that this game, what's difficult is that you want to see the people around you succeed, but at the same time, you want to win. So I had to keep thinking of strategy. When Demetrius had 2 and Molly had 2, I realized that if I get 2, I knew where their minds were, at least from the information provided.
Right.
So I knew it was like, let's play the freaking long game. Like Chef Steve was in the corner and he made it to the very last episode. So my thought was like, I'm Kush. This is my strategy.
Absolutely, you are.
Out Tom, I'm going straight back to the floor. I don't want to show people that I'm aggressive, because if people see that I'm aggressive, they're going to see me as a threat. And so it helped creating a relationship with Demetrius and Molly. They both could have come for me and they didn't. So
True.
my thought was, I'm going to be a team player in that regard. It's a whole random.
That completely changed then, because you
everything
went from
changes.
sociopath to full on buddy.
Yeah.
Hey Jason, let me ask you this real quick.
Okay.
Had you not won the 10K, do you still go about it the same way?
I was going to ask
Or
that
did
too.
winning the 10K kind of like say, you know what, I'm feeling good right now. I got some money in my pocket. Maybe it's better to play for the long game at this
Right.
point.
Before you
Nice.
knew it was the golden square. Right.
I kept to my strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I kept to my strategy because
change
I
anything.
really, this sounds really woo-woo, but the months leading up to the game and many moments prior to the game and during the game, I mentioned earlier that I lost my mom a couple of years ago, and I'm a firm believer that they still exist in our world. And I truly believe that this experience was a gift from the other side. It sounds crazy. I have way too much evidence to show that I can still believe this.
I don't think it sounds crazy.
It was just like, I want to live this experience. It took me out of that dark period. And I was just like, I've truly found being on the floor with 99 contestants, incredible people, truly a gift. And I love to be on stage. I love to be in front of cameras. I find comfort there. And the whole experience felt like a summer camp team building game. So I was there just to live it. I was just enjoying
amazing.
It. Yeah.
Jason is his category is summer camp. Look, so you knew you were going to challenge Tom in impressions. So this is episode 4, which means you've had a little bit of time to study, right? Not a lot, not 3 not 3 weeks. Okay. Nope. But you have had, let's say, the lunch break on day 1. You've had the night of day 1, even though, of course, we all know that we had very little time to sleep that night, but the morning. And so you've had some time to study this. Were you able to study this at all?
Yeah. So I don't know how it was fun behind the scenes watching everybody and how they were studying. Everybody's methods were completely different. Mine was seriously like ChatGPT and YouTube and Google Drive.
Okay.
So I put everybody's categories. I saved every category as a file and just asked ChatGPT, if this was a game show, if this was the floor and this was the category, can you give me a list of 100 go-tos that would be most likely to be brought up? So because of knowing Jay Farrow, the first thing I looked up was what impressions is Jay Farrow known for? And Google was like 184 impressions. And I was just like, crap. So then I start YouTubing. We find out what we can do very last minute with finding material and content. So then I'm finding all the YouTube videos of like Jay Farrow's top 10s, Jay Farrow's 20 most known. And there was a pattern of which impressions he was really known for. And so I started with those. It was every minute that I could on my phone, on my laptop, in the green room, just trying to listen to the different ones. But there's the most popular, but you also know I feel like the producers are going to pick images or audio tracks to really throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
And so was that your game plan the whole time? Jason, was to go after impressions? Was that your plan the whole time, to go after impressions?
Yeah.
Well, especially right, you said after Demetrius and Molly had locked up the other two, and you were on the edge, which I imagine felt good when you realized that was your position. We've talked about this a lot, where pretty much every person who's won so far has been at least either on the edge or one away from the edge. So, and usually if they're one away from the edge, they went into the edge.
Moved towards the edge.
Yeah. So it is, of course, only one of those people can win because other people have the same strategy. We now know that you, Molly, and Demetrius all have an edge corner. You all can't win 250, but you've increased your chances of doing so.
Increased my chances by sticking around a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, can we get into the actual duel because so this was and this was
Okay.
I won't talk too much about we won't bring in like comments and stuff that we read too much, but I knew this was probably going to be a somewhat controversial duel because it's only Jay Farrow doing the impressions. You're always going to have people who are haters who whatever. I do think Jay Farrow is the king of impressions. Like he's so spot on them. That said, like when they have to show something on the screen, so they're just showing Jay Farrow,
His
but it's a
face.
little jarring. You almost have to like. Were you able to block out that picture? I remember being like, man, actually, this would be easier if you're just closing your eyes and listening.
I was looking, so folks may know that there's a screen that each of the contestants gets to look at that's behind the other player. And so I ended up not looking at the screen. I just stared up into like the black abyss
That's so
that's
smart.
outside the screen and
Yeah,
just like
that
just
is
focus
smart.
on the listening. Yeah, that's where my mind went. And I don't know why, like seeing my stance now, like I thought that my hands were on the table, but it was just like breathe in, lean into it, relax, and just listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that
So-
because there was 10K on the line that it added a little more kind of pressure to it, or did you not really think about it being the golden square?
I don't know, Serge, you tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going up there was already like, if I don't get this, I'm going home. And then it was like, if I don't get this, I'm going home and losing out on $10,000. Like, holy crap.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
I didn't hear it at first because they do a little bit of a re-edit, but what folks don't see is that the golden square didn't light up right away. So we already
Right.
start making our way to the stairs and my heart rate is just going. I feel like I'm for the first time in my life on the verge of like passing out or fainting. And then Josh is like screaming my name and I look over, he's like, you found it. I was like, I know I was selected. And he's like, no. And I couldn't make sense of what he was saying. So I walked up to him and he puts his hands on my shoulders and he's like, you just revealed the golden square. And I was like, don't let go of me. I don't feel my legs or my arms.
Yeah.
And I literally thought I was going to pee my pants. And
Wow.
yeah.
And
And
so
so
just
it's
to
like,
let the audience know, we did have to go back and like reshoot some of those reactions because no one was aware that it was the golden square that lit up 10K, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we all were just like, oh, he's challenging impressions. Like this is going to be a good one. We were hyped regardless, right?
Yeah.
But then they're like, no, we got to go back and redo this because it's the golden square, and that just we got real hype for that. But that was
Tom's reaction on the reshoot that made it into the episode is hilarious.
I
And
know.
my family
Okay,
saw
okay.
it. They were like, that wasn't the first shot of that, was it?
Nope.
No, Tom's great.
okay.
So Jason, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the performance. It's interesting to me. For me, after I won the money, and now I'm like so much calmer, right? But also, Jason, you were not the impression aficionado I thought you might have been, because that was a close duel.
It was
you almost
close.
lost.
So,
It was
And-
close.
So how do you balance those two things, right? On one hand, I've won 10K now. I went on TV and won money. Should I be worried about anything? Like I could go home now and be fine. But on the other hand, I didn't perform that well. Like, man, I need to perform better. Like, are you stressed? Are you stress free? Like, where are you at now?
Well, be put at that point. So like once you're done, you experienced it. I think about it like karaoke. Like the first time I did karaoke, I was shaking. My legs were shaking. My hand was shaking. And then now I'm a karaoke junkie. And so with that, like once that first time is scary, but anytime like watching some of the folks go up a second or third time, like Marcia even said it, she's like, you find comfort. You can see that there's confidence now. The original fears, you've shaken them off. And so like at that point, I no longer was carrying the anticipation of the randomizer. Like the scariest part is now done.
Yeah.
So going back to the floor really felt like, all right, if I get dueled again, the only thing I need to be nervous about are the categories. But the going up for the one time, like it was just my strategy immediately with Tom. It was going up and I want contact with the person. And a lot of the edits where folks are just sort of like just standing there and trying to breathe. It's like, I got to shake my nerves. One of the things that I always do when I would teach classes or give lectures is engage with the people immediately so you have a connection. And that's what I did with Tom. So like Tom and I chatted for a bit while we're up there because I needed to shake the nerves and realize that this person in front of me is an acquaintance. It's a good person. He's a friend. This outside of this, it's a game. But yeah, going back to the floor. I think anyone who does go back to the floor, folks at home or those who are like putting in chats and feeds on Facebook and Reddit, like you don't understand, like part of the strategy is like once you've been on you dueled and you go back to the floor, you're a threat.
True.
You've got that you've won under your belt now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Real quickly before you have to go, like just want to talk a little bit about that duel because it was close, as Luke said. This wasn't an easy duel by any stretch of the imagination. Like you already said, Jay Farrow does so many impressions, and because you couldn't see and it's just listening, it is tough. But you both passed on a few, and I think the one, perhaps maybe the turning moment for you, particularly in your performance, was you did wind up getting Peter Griffin. Yep. Right. And can you talk us through that? Because you were saying the wrong name. It's so interesting because, and here's the thing, people always argue about this, but people are like, well, they said the last name, but it's like, no, if you say the full name, but you say the wrong first name, then it doesn't count. That actually is, it's what happened to Tom. A lot of people think he didn't get McConaughey because he wasn't pronouncing it correctly. That's actually not true. If you rewatch the duel, he says Michael McConaughey or McConaughey or whatever. I actually think if he had just said the weird pronunciation of McConaughey or McConaughey, I actually think they might have given it to him, but he said Michael first, which is wrong. And because he said Michael, he then had to say the full name, which is Matthew McConaughey, and he never got to that, so he had to eventually pass. But for you, you did the same thing. You said the wrong. I think you said Brian.
So
what did you say?
Right?
Oh, I used to watch Family Guy all the time, and as soon as the voice came on, I was like,
"Yeah, Family Guy.
It's Peter Griffin."
Yeah,
I could not get Peter out of my mouth, and the reason for being is like my brain went right to the Griffins that I know more, and I said Bill Griffin. Bill Griffin is my high school French teacher's husband. So all I could think was Griffin. So I'm like, Bill Griffin. And I knew that was wrong. And I was like, Bill Griffith? Bill Griffith is a mentor of mine for like 15 plus years. And that's when I was like, you know who this is. Shut up. Listen. And then all I could hear was Lois. And the back of my mind going, oh, Peter. Peter. And that's when I went, Peter Griffin.
That was
you were just trying to give your buddies the shout outs. That's
But I will say it takes confidence, and it takes the kind of composure, or it's a little bit of that mental fortitude you were talking about, Sergio, of being able to go recenter yourself, not panic, not pass because you're like, I'm not getting it past. And you knew, because at this point, it was just like it was taking a while for everybody to say it. So it was like, I know it, Peter Griffin. When you said, I do think that was a big thing. I do think that was a big turning point.
Helping it just spit out and realizing like your brain like calm down. And so if I couldn't pick up on it, like Chris Rock to me, like still watching it, like I get it. To me, it wasn't the best impression of Chris Rock. But on stage, like, again, folks at home, when you're watching, like, on the comfort of your own couch, it is so different than when you are in the hot seat.
Yeah.
And it's a bold, because we had that prompt. This will be the last thing I say, because I know we got to let Jason go. But knowing that prompt, and it's one guy's impressions, it's not quite as objective as, like, an image of a cat, and you say cat, right? And so it's just bold for anybody to want to challenge that, because you're not getting this pristine cutout thing. This is this, right? And so I agree. I knew the Chris Rock one because I was there, right? I'm watching with like 10 people at a time, right? My family was like, the Chris Rock one wasn't good. And I'm like, no hate on Jay Farrow. It's just a really chaotic sort of category to have here. Like, it's scary. And so, yeah, you kept calm under pressure and you pulled out the W. So good job.
I guessed all of Tom's in my head. Like those where I was like, why am I getting these?
That's so funny. That's so funny. Well, Jason, congratulations for winning
Thank
the
you.
10K. Good
you.
luck. Good luck going for the 250K. And is there any non-spoiling parting words you want to leave us with?
The only thing I've got a quick question of is Sergio. Did you see makeup before coming?
Oh my God,
Oh,
this
snap.
guy. I'm beautiful and he tends to hate on me a little bit, but we're not as good looking as you are. Okay. Not all of us can do this guy. So when we were in wardrobe, quick story, I'd come out and be like, wow, did you do your makeup already? Like, it doesn't look like you have. And he was like, oh no, this, I haven't done any makeup yet. This is my beautiful face. I was like, man, Jason's a good looking dude. And then I was all fully makeuped out. And he's like, have you done your makeup? I was like, wow, that's rude. Right? Like, I'm fully makeuped out. You don't tell? He's like, oh no, just
You're like,
kind of
I'm
looks like you
caked
need some
up.
more.
Well, I appreciate you, Sergio, changing your filter during this discussion to smooth out everything.
Wow.
Oh my God.
For folks
This
at
is
home,
what I dealt with, by the way, in
Sergio
Ireland.
is the first to come for you, so you have to have some thick skin because this guy will really he'll come after you.
Let's
true.
just
Facts.
pray we get to see the two of you duel. That's what I'm gonna pray for now. Oh man,
All
he's
right.
so good.
It's great seeing you guys.
You too.
Likewise,
Yeah,
Jason.
you
Love
too,
you,
Thanks
brother.
so much. We'll see
Take
you.
care. Bye.
All right, bye.
We are back with our second guest, Ashley. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Let's go.
Ashley, we have so much to talk about. You are already a floor legend, the first person to ever use the category steal. Made an epic run at the end of episode 3 that made it the highest watched episode of the season by date, and it was an awesome run. But before we get into all that, we wanted to hear a little bit about your journey to the floor, whether you were a fan of the show beforehand, how you applied,
hmm
yeah, and how you wound up with
How
the
it
category.
started.
Yeah.
So I think I saw a TikTok of a duel, and
Okay.
I didn't even know Rob Lowe was hosting or anything. It was just of the duel, and I was like, oh, this is easy. So I started showing it to my coworker. We were at work,
Do you remember
and
what
then
duel?
I think it was like Gen Z. And
Oh,
like what?
funny.
Yeah, and one of the other contestants didn't know anything, and we were both kind of like, "What? That was easy!" Like they didn't know what Crocs were or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And we started laughing, and then so then after that, once you pick up an algorithm, more started popping up, and then she's like, "You should go on there. It seems pretty easy." And then I was like, "Yeah, haha, whatever." And then Instagram sent me like an ad. Like they were like, "Oh,
Mm.
apply now." And then I saw that Rob was like hosting. I was like, "Oh, this is that game." So then I started. So I applied. It was like that very quick application, and then after that, that's when I went home and watched it, and I like binged
Oh, amazing.
everything. And then I was like, I could so do this. Like it was just like my FBI agent was listening to me and then sent it to me. So
Down. Shout out the FBI.
right. So yeah, that's when I applied and everything. And then you know how they contact us like right away. And they're like, what would your category be? And I asked for 80s horror movies or Harry Styles songs. And then like I
Wow.
got theme parks. So
Wow.
so I know
Yeah.
everyone's story is different.
Right.
So
So
you
you
But yeah,
never
that
once
was like
suggested theme parks at all or anything like that?
no, like, well, I think that they were like, oh, what do you like to do on your free time? And then I said, oh, I like to go to a lot of live shows, concerts, and watch a lot of movies and go to Disneyland with my family, with my sister. And I guess from
That's
there,
the
she was like, oh,
that was the
okay.
one thing.
That was the one
Wow.
thing that was like, I didn't say anything else about it. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
like, so
Hey, did
she's
you
like,
let that information be known like before filming or during filming that it
Like,
wasn't
did
a
any other
category that
contestants
you
know
were?
that?
yeah, afterwards, a few asked me, they
Oh,
were like, how'd you get theme parks? Like, did you ask for, because there was another Disney category. So they were
Right.
like, did you
right.
ask for Disney? And then they gave you theme parks. And then I told them, I was like, no, I asked for movies and concert or Harry Styles songs. And they gave me theme parks. So But it was fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like to go to theme parks on my free time or whatever. So I
Sure.
liked it. I was happy. I
Well,
was actually happy I didn't get dentist office because I was like, oh, I don't want my work.
oh, when you saw the list of 100, did you think that they
Yes,
might have given you that?
and yeah, and I showed my boyfriend, and he was like, "Oh, you so got dentist office. Like they have to go, like, because it was only that like
Yeah, I would
random,
have thought that too.
yeah, everything else." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I probably did." So I was bummed at first, and then finally when we got our like category reveal, I was like, "Oh yes, I got theme parks."
Yeah.
So
So
heading into, let's say, heading into Ireland, going to the floor, you got the list of 100. You
mhm.
eventually get your own category a couple days later, right? You have a very short amount of time to try to study a massive amount before you know where you are on the floor.
Mhm.
Did you have any strategy or preparation before? Like, were you, yeah, how did you approach this before you knew where you were on the floor?
Like before I knew who was around me and what to
Yeah.
study.
Exactly.
Were you studying? Were you like, whatever, I
Yeah.
don't need, none of this matters. Like, I'll just study my own category. Like,
No, most of the pop culture stuff I was like, I think I'm safe in. It was like state flowers, state nicknames, definitely without even knowing it was like sportscasters, geometry, biology that was like around me.
mhm,
And I was like, I don't know all this actual educational academic stuff.
right.
So I was looking more into that. Simpson characters, I did look into a little bit and I was like, oh, I know some of these. And then when we saw the duel, I was like, oh, I didn't know any of these. Like, I knew the basics. So, yeah, but most of them were like, I just started off with things I really didn't know at all. I was like, with my luck, I'm going to be around everything I don't know.
Got it.
And so I went off, like,
Okay.
I even printed out the map and like wrote down state flowers and everything. Like,
Sure.
yeah, like I started doing that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So let's talk a little bit about strategy. Did you wear that bow to make us all underestimate you?
No, so the producers, they told me bring your own hair accessories, and then I brought the barrette and that bow. And then when we went to go do our hair and wardrobe, the girl said, "Did you bring the accessories?" I said, "Yeah, I brought this barrette and this bow." She's like, "Oh, I know exactly where to put that bow." So she did it for me.
Okay.
Okay.
And so she kind of,
It definitely
that's
disarmed you. It made you more
Yeah.
it disarmed you for sure. I
Yeah.
have one question real quick, Ashley, if you don't mind. So we know that you get the 3 duels in a row to earn the category steal. Were you planning on doing that, or was absorbing car racing the main factor as to why you went on that run and tried to do the steal?
I wasn't getting, I don't think I was going to do I didn't even think I was going to get that far. I didn't think that far ahead, honestly.
Right.
But
Okay.
once I got the choice, yeah, I always say it was Rob Lowe who influenced me because he was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Well, you're gonna be the first to do this. You're gonna be the first to do that. Are you gonna do the time boost?" And then he influenced me a lot. And then finally, when I looked down at the ground and I saw that I had car racing, I'm like, "Oh, I have to category steal. I don't know anything about car racing." So yeah, but I always say like I still to this day say it was Rob because it didn't
Wow.
click to me till after that I had car racing, and then he was like, "Well, you can category steal," and I'm like, "Oh, duh!" Like, so he helped
Yeah.
me.
Don't get stuck with
Yeah.
this category you know nothing about.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
want to take us back.
go ahead.
Sorry,
Mhm.
I love
He's
linear.
linear. Don't
I'm
mind him.
linear. Sergio is like my wife. He's just like, hey, these are the things that are interesting to me. He's popping around, and my OCD linear brain is like, why are we here? We have to go back. Anyway,
Take us back, John.
take us back. I just want to take us back for a sec because I'm very interested in because look, we found out from the TV cast that you and Aaron were studying, right? So
Mhm.
that you were buddies, you guys were studying together. So
Mhm.
we know on the first day we got where our positions were very early, like right before we barely had any time
Yeah.
to study. But between episodes 1 and 2, very little bit, and then obviously between 2 and 3, a little bit more. You
Mhm.
had time to like study and maybe form a strategy. Did you were like? What was your kind of mindset at that point when you finally got positioned? Let's say you made it past episode 1.
Mhm.
What did you start to have a strategy? What were you studying, and what was your mindset at that
Yeah,
time?
I was for sure after I knew where I was standing, I was for sure studying geometry and sportscasters because they were right next to me. And then
Whoa. Okay.
yeah. And I didn't know any of that. So I was immediately studying that. But my strategy was to go forward and go for Emmy-winning TV shows, Ghost Stories, Lisa Frank, and then eventually get to Brat Pack. Like I was gonna go forward to the left, my left.
So you like Brat Pack? That was a category you wanted to attack.
Yeah.
Early.
I actually thought, oh, it was just gonna be Brat Pack movies. I didn't know it was gonna be like the actors of.
Right.
Yeah, and so I was just like, oh, okay, I know most of the movies, and so yeah, I didn't study in the show. He's like, oh, she's been studying Brat Pack. I didn't study Brat Pack. I knew Brat Pack.
Really?
Yeah. So then when I saw that in the show, I was like, hey, I didn't study that. So
Get out of here! Wow.
Yeah,
So
I was
you're a big TV movie buff. Like with was that the same with Emmy winning? By the way, I've said this on the podcast already. I don't know if you heard. Like Emmy winning TV shows was a category I had submitted. It was one
really?
of and they had it. It was on my original application, and then when I did my interview, it was one of 3 categories. They were like, it's either going to be this one that you chose, this other one that you chose, or podcasters. And I was like, okay. And then when we got the 100, I was like, all 3 that they said could be mine are on this list. I was so annoyed. And then, of course,
so you had no idea.
The 2 that I chose were not, and podcasters was the one that I did not choose. But it made sense because I do podcasts. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, and then Kyle said the same thing. He was like, yeah, I was leaning more towards sports stuff. And then they gave him TV shows. I think it was like same concept. I think he just said like, yeah, I like to binge watch a lot of TV. And they gave him that or something like that. But yeah, that was the whole plan.
You didn't study that either, though, that category?
No, I didn't.
And because I was at the table with Kyle, by the way, and he was studying. I remember at this point, my position was so far away from him, so I was pretty sure I was never going to be able to duel it, but I still wanted to. And I remember seeing him study, and I was like, I wonder if I would beat him. It looks like he's studying pretty hard.
He was studying his own category?
Yes. I saw him study. That was basically all he was studying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I didn't study with him at all, but once we got on the floor, that's when we started forming our little alliance. And he even said, he's like, are you going to pick me? Like, if they pick you? And I was like, yeah.
Hey, you're honest with it.
So social,
But he like started laughing, and he knew why, because he was like, he even laughed himself. He's like, there's no way you're going to do sportscasters. I was like, no way. Like, no. Yeah. And so he's like, yeah. And then he asked the same thing. He's like, what is the plan? Like, we were all asking everyone's plan. Erin was very smart. She every time we would ask her, it wasn't just me. Like anytime anyone would ask her, she would just be like, she would just like not answer.
Right.
She would like turn it on them, like, "Oh no, well, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "She's smart. She's not telling us anything." And
Ashley, so when did your alliance start, like with Erin? Because you guys made it seem like you guys studied together. You almost formed an alliance. When did that start?
For the listener, we did just jump from ERIN to AARON.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
Erin from last episode to Erin that just won.
Yeah. Erin Simpson's character is the Erin public transit.
Exactly.
Right, public transit, Erin. So we were just from the start. We arrived on the same bus. We sat in the same row. So from then we started talking, and then at breakfast we were like running into each other, and I guess we were just like it's a familiar face, so we just gravitated to like who we knew. And then after that, that's when I started like, oh, what category do you have? He's like, oh, I have public transit. And then he started like, oh, I'm more afraid of like the sports stuff, the geometry, whatever, just like around the same categories that I was. And I was like, okay, good, then we can study together. So like from then we started studying. And then at one point at dinner, we had dinner with Jacob and Ben, and they were all telling us too. They were like, oh, this person has this category, this person has this category. And I was like, they all seem pretty, like we were all like trying to discuss what we were going to study, but it all kind of like, it was all the same things. So then, after that, in the mornings when we would rush out, I think he was even like late at one point. I would call him like, he was my buddy. And then, and then when we found out where we were on the floor, I'm like, oh, cool, we're on opposite sides.
Right. we'll never, we don't have to worry about this for a long time. For a long time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
I genuinely think he didn't like have it out for me. He was just like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm gonna play this way.
So we figured out. This is amazing. This is incredible. This is so different from what I thought, Ashley. Honestly, I can't believe the categories you won were categories you didn't study for. That's wild to me. So you had like you had like a totally different strategy, which was you were trying to study things that you didn't know that were next to you, even though you didn't want to duel them. You just were like, I better know them in case I get stuck with them, or I'm forced to duel them at some point. You decide to not study the things that you did know, and you wound up taking, because you didn't. I'm assuming you didn't really study theme parks much either.
No, yeah. And then I did it maybe like one day I did, because I thought it was going to be like names of theme parks.
Okay.
So it was like, and then I didn't know any of the East Coast theme parks.
Sure, but by the time we got the prompt, you understood that it wasn't just
So I was for a little bit just studying names, like brand names and stuff like that. But then after that, they're like, no, things that you can find at a theme park. And I was like, oh, okay, that's
easy. And you got that probably a few days before everybody else did. Not that many days, but maybe like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And then, so you wound up, but it works to your advantage. You win in one of the best duels of the season with Aaron and theme parks. We get the iconic nachos.
Nachos.
I didn't hear that. Hey, that didn't ding. Like after I said nachos and it didn't ding, and I was like, I said it. Like,
Ashley, it was the smartest thing to do. Here's the thing that people, and I don't know how much we've talked about this. The judging is done live while the dueling is happening off to the side. I'm sure they have headphones or whatever, but the thing is, like, the people, it's human beings doing it. They're there's human error. Sometimes they don't hear something correctly, and there's a delay. They have to decide whether or not you said the right thing or not. Sometimes people argue online. They're like, well, they didn't pronounce this correctly or not. Like, sometimes it's just like, well, they have a second to decide whether or not you said the thing the right way.
Yeah.
Right. And then also, when you were screaming nachos, everyone on the floor and in the audience, everybody was so psyched that Aaron had just gotten 1 second left, and we didn't know what was going to come up next for you. It was just a natural reaction, but it was like so loud, and who knows, maybe the loudness was affecting the person who was listening. Probably did. It took them a delay, but they got it. Like, that was amazing.
I actually thought you had lost that duel. No. So the whole floor was like, you just went, it was pandemonium, right? People were hyped. The crowd was yelling. We're like, what did we just witness? And then we see Erin lose her seconds, and we're like, nachos? Nacho, everybody just started yelling like nacho. She got nachos in, and John, I remember John coming up to me. He's like, she got it, and I was like, what do we? Oh my! It was absolutely nuts.
Because it happened so fast.
Great watch.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah.
No, I remember. So I think I said it on Kurt's podcast. I didn't look at the timer at all. I was like,
you never knew that you were down by a lot.
A lot. Like, I didn't
13 seconds, I think.
I watched the duel. On TV, and I was like, holy crap, how did I win this? Like,
I thought the same thing. I knew the result, and I remember watching on TV being like, I don't understand how did Ashley win?
I know, everyone, like my family group chat, they all replied to me, and they were like, oh, look at that comeback, you had no time. I was like, I know, I didn't even know. But yeah, like I said, I didn't hear after that. Obviously we hear the ding once we pass, and when I said, I was like, nachos, and they didn't ding it, and I just like looked around and I was like, nachos, like, I said it.
Right. It's like, what else could it be? It's nachos.
It's nachos.
Like, even then I was like, and like, you guys know, like, the reactions were bigger. The time we spent just like screaming, yelling, like being excited was like a lot longer than it is on TV. Everything is edited. But I remember I was like, oh my God, like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I still can't, because I truly thought, like, again, I didn't look at the time. I was just like going. I didn't even know it was over. And then with Ty as well, you can like hear me at the end of the duel. Like, we were just going, and I didn't know the duel was over. Like, because I wasn't looking at the clock. I was just like, just go.
Were you aware I know you weren't looking at the clock, but were you aware that like, oh, he's passing a lot, and I have not passed. You were at least
I
aware of that, right?
I wasn't aware that I did not pass. Like
Oh,
yeah, I keep
really?
hearing like, oh, she didn't pass this round, she didn't pass this round, and I was just like, oh, like until freaking egg whites and whipped cream. But
Right. But
we'll get there.
we'll get yeah, that's a different thing. But
And
Yeah.
but yeah,
yeah, I didn't
you
realize.
you only I think you only passed one in the theme parks
Mhm.
duel, and you didn't I don't think you passed at all. In Brat Pack, I know you didn't pass. And then I'm almost positive you didn't even pass in Emmy TV
Yeah, I
shows.
don't think I
I don't
passed
think you
in
did
any.
either.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like I said, I was at Kyle's table. He definitely was studying. He
Mhm.
wound up getting tripped up on. I look, I would have been, I would have been Kyle in this category, but like but to be fair to him, he got ones that I think a lot of people wouldn't have. And if you weren't so good at this category, you would have lost too. Like I
Mhm.
don't think a casual person would have gotten like because Shogun is a new show. Like a lot
Mhm.
of people, I can easily see that
Right.
tripping people up. What you had, yeah, what did you get? You got like Handmaid's Tale. You got, I mean, there were some classic ones like The Office
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. He had some harder, like
Like the
Mary Tyler
older ones.
Moore. Yeah,
Yeah, and the
I
Dick
know
Van Dyke
those.
Show and all
My
that.
wife loves Dick Van Dyke. She watches
Mhm.
the Mary Tyler Moore show all the time. Like, so those ones I did know, but like a lot of people wouldn't necessarily know them. He got tripped up on Fleabag and
Mhm.
one other modern one. Oh,
Homeland.
Homeland.
Homelander, yeah.
I heard him talk on, maybe it was Kurt's podcast too, that like Homeland, he only knew Damien, what's his name? The redhead who's in it, the main male actor who's in that. He was like, oh, when I was studying it, I was just studying it with him, even though Claire Danes is like the lead of that
Oh,
show.
okay.
So for some reason, he didn't know. Like when he saw
Yeah.
Claire, he didn't realize that that was Homeland,
Mhm.
which I thought was funny. But he only passed on two in a TV duel. That's usually people pass more than that. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was a great one. So yeah, you win your 20K. Congratulations on that. That must have felt so good.
Thank you. On
And
TV, I was
yeah,
like, everyone's like, well, you didn't scream and jump and run around. And I'm like, I was in shock. Like I said, I
Yeah.
didn't even know.
yeah,
When the duels are over, I like black out. 'Cause I'm like,
right.
oh, it's
Mhm.
over. Like I
Uh,
like come back.
yeah,
So yeah, I was like, I didn't have time to celebrate. And then even after when we go to lunch, they rush us off to those interviews, the confessionals. So
yep.
I didn't even have time
So
to.
Right.
you had no
You don't get to
time.
study.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
and so yeah,
Right.
just so people know, this was a day where you're filming two. So
Mhm.
Ashley won at the end of episode 3. All we have is a lunch break between episode 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Even if you get your whole lunch break, that's still really not a lot of time to study.
Right.
You had to go film confessionals, so
Yeah.
you basically had no time to study
I
at
had no
all,
time.
And think
and
about
barely
what you were
time
going to
to eat.
steal.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Let's talk
Yes, let's talk
about
about the
now
steal.
you've won 20K and you know that you're gonna get rid of car racing. Throw that
Mhm.
hot potato elsewhere.
Mhm.
You talk a little bit about dentist office, Disney, and then Harry Potter. I
Mhm.
think there's kind of two schools of thought for a defensive category still, right? There's one where
Right.
it's like, I don't care if other people like this, I'm good at it. And that's what you
Mhm.
did, right? You took Harry Potter, which other people loved, which is very scary. I think obviously all of this is moot because you got the category swap offensively on you.
Mhm.
But if you had taken dentist office, I think a lot of people would have been like, "Oh, she works in a dentist office."
She knows
It's
it.
just
Yeah.
so it's a much more obscure category. Did that
Yeah.
go through your head at all?
Yeah. Like I said, we were rushed to confessionals. They asked me, what are you going to do next? Or which one are you going to choose? And I didn't have the map right in front of me, so I didn't really know. And then I was like, I told them the truth. I was like, oh, I don't know. I have to like look at my list. And then they rushed me to the green room where I like quickly had 2 bites of lunch. And then I had to like look at the map.
Ugh.
And then Aaron asked me too. He was like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna choose? And then I like joked and I was like, I should just do public transit and stick you with car racing. And then he's like, you better
Get out of
not.
here.
Yeah, like
No,
we
you
were
didn't. That's
yeah.
That's wild.
And I was like, and we were just joking. And then he was like, oh, and he was the one that told me, he's like, a lot of people think you're gonna do dentist office because you work there. And then I was like, oh, okay. So then I went down the list like really quickly. I had like 3 minutes. It was super fast. And then I started looking around at the players. I looked at the map and I looked at the category holders, and I was just like, and I kind of like made eye contact with Courtney, and she was doing the same thing. Like she was just like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would like move around, and Bailey was at my table too, and she was like, "You're gonna do tennis office, aren't you?" Like everyone was asking,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "I don't know," but I really didn't know. And
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, when did that decision get made? When you were up there?
So when we were walking back, when the producers were finally like, "Okay, let's go," and we were walking, everyone was walking back to film after lunch, and then this gets me every time. The producers were like, "Oh, so what do you think you'll be good at? Like, what do you think you're gonna steal?" And then I was like, "I think I'm gonna do impressions or Harry Potter." And then they're like, "Oh," they're like, "Impressions?" And then I was like, "Yeah, I think I could do it." And then they're like, "Oh, you're so confident in that." And I was like, "Yeah." And then they were like, "People are intimidated by Harry Potter. Not everyone is familiar with names. Like, could be name
The
specific."
manipulation.
They
The manipulation drives me
yes,
crazy.
they got me.
Wow.
And you don't
And I
even
was
know you're
like,
being manipulated. You don't know you're being manipulated. All right. So that. All right.
Wait, no,
yes,
wait a
That's-
minute.
that's
No,
insane.
Ashley,
That's so frustrating.
you were thinking about stealing impressions?
Impressions, yes.
That's crazy.
Get
And
out of here. I understand, like I understand them being like, oh no, because then basically
They
the
had to
whale,
know, right?
yeah, dueling, well, yeah, they 100% knew.
Yeah.
Dueling for the whale would have just been an immediate 10K on top of whatever other thing, which would honestly been, I actually think would have been
Good
really
TV.
exciting. I
That
actually
would've
think it
been
would.
dope.
I actually think it
Yes.
would have been more exciting personally, but anyway, it's funny that they try to convince, but I guess they did that.
Yeah.
I would never have been convinced that less people know. It's like impressions is like people don't know what that's going to be. Harry Potter,
Exactly.
everyone knows what that is. It's one of the most popular. Like the reason Harry
Yeah.
Potter, it's like yes, there are going to be people who don't know Harry Potter, but there's
Yeah.
also going to be so many other people who are like, I can do Harry Potter. I've watched all the Harry
Yeah.
Potter movies.
Exactly.
I've read all the Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Harry
I
Potter.
said it on the episode. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I was so
Okay.
shook after that.
Got
They convinced me
That's
both ways.
insane.
I'm not gonna say they told me like, "Oh, choose Harry Potter instead." They were like, "Oh,
But
okay,
you
yeah,
can-
you're really
Yeah, no,
yeah,
they
I
You can
influence you.
spot
remember that."
the areas where you're manipulated. Okay. That's like a perfect segue into this massive Aaron controversy
okay.
that the entire world doesn't know about. Are we good to talk about this?
I don't even know what you're going to say.
Okay.
Do you know what he's going to
Aaron
say?
Aaron's going to go on his run, right? He's going on his run.
Yeah.
You're feeling that pressure as he gets closer and closer to you, Ashley.
When are you feeling that pressure, by the way? Because
Yeah,
I
that's
have to say, when he did 3 duels, I thought like he
Go
got
back.
me so well. Like when he was like blah blah blah, like I could do this. And then like Rob was like, "Is that what you're gonna do?" And he was like, "Yeah, that is." I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "What's going on?
Pep talks. What?
Who gets a time boost? Who gets a time boost and then keeps dueling? I don't think I've ever seen that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when's the pressure hit?
I felt the pressure when he went after Bo. So
Okay.
Oh,
it
wait,
was, like, right
immediately.
at
The second
immediately.
duel.
Well, because me, Bo, and him were buddies.
Yeah.
And we all agreed, don't come after each other, because we didn't think we were going to. He was way in the back. Like I was like, there's no way, I'm fine. And then it reached him, and when he was like very set on, and he was like, "Oh, red carpet." I was like, "Oh, you freaking liar. Like, you are coming after it." That's when I was like, okay. I was like, okay, whatever.
You knew immediately.
Yeah, so I knew. So that's why when like Bo said on the show, "You're fake, you're fake. You said you were going after Buffet." I'm like,
That was
yeah,
real.
you are. That was very real.
I gotta say, like when I was happening at the time, I literally was like, did they plan this? Like, did they?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if it was.
Exact conversation.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, it felt, because I knew Bo was an influencer. I knew you all were buddies. It just felt like it. I was like, I can't tell if this is real or not. But that was real. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like Jonathan, even that morning, remember, I think we all had breakfast together.
We did.
We had
That's why I
breakfast with Bo.
That's why I thought it was planned, because it just seemed like you were all such good friends.
Yeah.
And And I knew Bo was like, there was a part of me that was like, oh, did Bo like plan this? He was like, hey man, I don't
Right.
really want to be here anymore. I want to go out in like a blaze of glory. Like, well, why don't we do this cool back and forth thing where this and
Yeah.
this happens? But no. Okay, wow. Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Luke.
No, even at the
So-
restaurant afterwards, there was some animosity there. They hashed it out, but you can feel the tension.
It was real. Wow.
It was
So
real.
at this point, right now he does Christy with Buffet, and he
Can't believe it.
he then goes for Caitlin, fictional creatures. He's clearly going for you. Here's the thing. So that's now his second run of 3. Okay. This is
Right.
the controversy that America does not know about. But it is so clear in the edit when you watch this. Aaron did not have the idea to category swap
my
coffee
God.
into you.
Yes, I
Guess
know.
who gave him that idea? Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
literally
America
said
needs to
he-
know.
America needs to know. Rob says to Aaron,
AKA the
you
producers,
know,
by the way.
not supposed to say this. I'm not supposed to help with strategy. But you could get the category steal, swap it into Ashley since you don't know Harry Potter, and duel her on coffee.
So if you watch this episode, by the way, I watched this with Aaron because he had a viewing party in
great.
Los Angeles. And I went there because I had to see it. Because this run was all the controversy aside, this run was incredible. Like even though
absolutely.
it's like all the stuff people are like, oh, he had easy people, but look, he did spot the weak people. We knew. I think you. I remember. Luke, I feel like you and maybe Sergio, you guys both were saying like he's going after the weak people, like he's just knocking them out. Like he knew, like he took out Harley. He knew Victoria didn't know TED Talk.
Well, I'll say Harley was
Harley
not
still
weak.
no. Harley
was
wasn't
a
weak.
Beast.
Harley wasn't
Harley
weak.
was a beast.
But I think
But,
he
like-
viewed her as weak, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah.
he was
Yeah.
going. What I mean to say is, I think his strategy was, I'm going to go after people who I think aren't very good.
Yeah.
And
the thing with TED Talk too, here's the story about Vicky.
Oh, please.
I rode on the bus with her from the airport. So what happened was she's an influencer. She's got a ton of followers on TikTok. So when she was talking to the producers, she was like, I'd love the category TikTok.
TikTok.
And
I know this story
apparently,
too.
according to her, apparently the producers misunderstood, heard TED Talk, and gave her that category. So when we asked her on the bus ride, I was like, so you're not comfortable with TED Talk? She's like, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I wanted TikTok because I know everything about that, but I'm okay at TED Talk. I was like, no, you're not. And so
No,
when she
you're
told that
not.
story, it got around
Yeah.
quick.
So this is the other
Oh,
thing,
okay.
and
People were like-
this is the social aspect of the game that
Do not talk about things like
you
this.
Right.
you cannot, nobody outside of listening to this podcast, you will never know, right?
Right.
So I do think, and we talked about this in the early episode. Sounds like Ashley, you weren't thinking about it that heavily, right? About like telling people, but I guess you put your trust in certain people. You were like, I'll tell Aaron. I'll tell Aaron.
No, yeah. We
what
all
I'm-
had our little.
what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not. I remember I did not like. There were 100% categories on this floor that I was scared of. People asked me that from day one, and I was like, I'm not telling any of you that ever. Why would I ever tell you? This is a category I didn't want to know. I think the only time I ever said that was when somebody dueled and that category was gone. Then I would be like, I'm so happy that's gone, because that was a category I didn't want to duel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the only time I'm going to tell people. But anyway, so yes, that came around, and yeah, man. Okay. The Rob Lowe of it all. That's what I was sorry. I got distracted. This episode was so good. Rob Lowe says exactly what Luke says, and Aaron goes, because Aaron says, like, they were like, oh, what do you want? Do you want another time boost? You want a category steal? I really think Aaron's mindset this whole time wasn't about, he did want to play for money, but I really think he was more about, like, I want to make a name for myself. I want to, like, do a bunch of duels in a row. Like, he was just having fun up there, like, truly. I actually don't think, but we'll find out, because eventually we're definitely going to have Aaron on this podcast and we'll hear from him. I felt like he was just like, it didn't really seem like a strategy. Like when he took out Harley, it was like, it didn't even make sense. Like, why are you, like, you were going down and then he decided to go back one up. It was just like, strategically, it didn't even make sense. He was just accumulating spaces for no reason. But then he was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can be Ashley and Harry Potter. I think he legitimately felt that way. And Rob was like, you can switch it. And he went, oh, but in the TV edit,
Oh,
they cut
you've
it to
seen
make
the episode, but the edit is so bad.
it's bad.
Once you know
He's like,
that,
oh,
because he's like, oh, because it's not like him like having an
it
epiphany
doesn't
on the
make any
stage, and it's
sense.
so clear.
Yeah.
But if you know that story, and now if you, for the listeners that are not just our floor buddies, our family or whatever
Mhm.
it's called, y'all go back, watch that episode. You will see it's clearly him reacting to Rob, giving him this cutthroat strategy, and then
Yeah.
guess
And
his throat got cut.
He was
Ashley's.
not. And maybe he'll say differently now. And hey, he has video evidence to help him out. But I fully believe he was not thinking about this.
Yeah.
And a little insight on us, Ashley, like I have to say, I think episode 2, maybe episode 2 or episode 3 is when I remember thinking about I was constantly thinking about what I was going to do. And I remember at one point I went, oh, I think it was probably episode 2, because at this point it was like only, there weren't that many, like the whales weren't that big. And I remember going, you know what? If there are 6 duels left, I could go 1, 2, 3, category swap, hit somebody else, and then get to the other thing that I want. And I'll have 6 spaces and I can end the episode as the most win. I thought about that in my head. I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I told nobody. And then I remember Luke and Sergio coming up to me and they were like, you can category swap as an offensive weapon.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I know. I was like, guys, don't tell anybody this, please. Shut up.
Yeah. And I was like, I want the world to know.
I know. Luke was telling everyone. I was like, stop telling people this. This isn't. Not every people are not going to think about this. And when Rob said it, I was so pissed because obviously once it happens out, everybody knows you can do it. But before that, I think that a lot of people on the floor were not thinking about this at all.
They were thinking about it as purely defense. What Ashley did,
I'd like to point out too that we called Rob Lowe out on this on the floor in between duels, and we had like a production timeout.
Yeah.
I directly looked at Rob Lowe, and I even told some of the other cast members, like, I think I might get attacked because I just called out Rob Lowe in front of everybody. But I was like, Rob, what are you doing? You gave him the strategy. He's like, it wasn't me. But it's
I know. He knew immediately.
When Aaron was up there, I don't even think he had played Harley yet, and he was looking at me and he was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm up here. Because like I'm telling you, we were still friends till freaking ends. And I was like, I know you're doing great. And then he was like, he's like, what do you think I should do? And I said, take out the back. You're in the back.
That's crazy.
Get Hip Hop Stars, get Harley, or get whoever was next to him. I don't remember.
Brad and Harry, Hip Hop Stars. And
I know.
Everyone assumed he didn't know it. He was like, I love hip hop, and they were like, you're a white guy. Shut up. From New Mexico. Shut up,
bro. To this day, I assume he doesn't know it. I was like, are you kidding me? I remember thinking, I was like, I don't know why nobody's targeting this dude. Like he doesn't know Hip Hop Stars. And anyway, whatever. Go ahead.
No, I thought the same thing. I told him that. I said he just inherited Hip Hop Stars. It's 2 pieces of the floor, I think, right? It was like a longer piece.
Yeah.
I'm like, go that way, go this way, take out the back, get junk in the trunk.
Right.
Like telling him,
you guys can both be whales.
I was literally like, we were looking at the map, like not looking at the map, but he was up there, I was on the floor, and he was kind of like, oh, okay. And then when Rob was putting all these ideas in his head, I was like giving him the look, like, do not. And then that's when Rob was like, oh, well, you can category steal or whatever. And then that's when he was like I saw
he literally
he lit up.
Oh, because here's what I'll say,
it.
Ashley. We'll have him talk about this. I do think he was maybe going to challenge you anyway. Yeah. I think he was going to come for the money no matter what. But I don't think he was. I think probably what he would have done was getting a time boost.
Time boost in 50 seconds to your 45.
Yeah, and try to hit Harry Potter. I think I personally think that's what his plan was, because he
initially, I agree.
Yeah, and he was ooh. Then he was like, wait a minute, I probably have a lot better chance dueling her in coffee than I do Harry Potter, even with the 5-second time boost, which I think is who knows? We will never see that battle. But we've talked about this too. I wanted to say this too. A 5-second time boost, if it's a category you don't know, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You need to know it. Like a 5-second time boost is approximately one pass. One.
Exactly.
Not two.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
one.
probably one. Mhm.
Especially as a
Yeah, I mean-
challenger, especially as somebody who is challenging the other person because you go first and you're already at a disadvantage. Like it's basically one pass. So anyway,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
so
No,
yes,
yeah. I knew he didn't know Harry Potter as well because
Right.
he would tell me. He'd be like, "Oh, you picked one I didn't know,"
right.
and he was like, "I don't know." I'm like you said. I'm sure everyone's familiar. Everyone knows Harry Potter,
Yeah.
but they don't know
No,
specific names
Yeah.
or specific.
Once we
whatever.
get into the
Yeah.
there's so many teachers, there's different creatures, there's like so many characters, like
Mhm.
not to mention places and items
Yeah.
that you just throw in randomly. So
Exactly.
Harry Potter has a lot, even for people who love Harry Potter,
hmm
it might be hard to quickly recall.
It's
Like
nuanced.
you see somebody and you're like, oh, that's
Exactly.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? What's
Yeah.
it, Professor? Anyway,
Mhm.
so you do a coffee. Did you feel like? Did you ever feel like you had a shot?
Yes, because to my knowledge, I thought it was going to be coffee brands. And so
Get
I was
out
like
of
so
here!
ready. And then Rick, Zach, and Kurt, like everyone around me was like, "You got this. It's just coffee. Like it's just coffee brands." I'm like, "Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard." Even then, they were
Yeah.
like helping me out with like random
Wait.
things. Like,
Did the
Zach
prompt
literally
say
said,
coffee
"Ye-
brands?
No, I
Huh?
can find the prompt.
yeah, I don't remember
Um,
it, but I thought it
But
was
Zach,
coffee
you
brands.
can hear
Oh,
Zach on the
Zach.
episode say coffee filters.
Coffee filters. Yeah, exactly. Like he was just like helping, like anything coffee. I was like, okay, it should be fine. But I was so shook with the fact that my friend challenged me.
No.
Like that's what got me.
Betrayal.
The betrayal of it all.
This is the
And
prompt.
mhm.
The category is coffee. Name the item or brand associated with this very important beverage.
Okay.
So
So
I
it
thought it
was.
was just brands.
You thought like the hard part is going to be the brands, items.
That's
So,
fair.
but I
That's
so
fair.
I was ready for all those. Like I thought it was gonna be like Tim Hortons, Starbucks,
Totally.
Dunkin', like I was
Folgers.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even the producers when they were like when we walk up there and they're kind of like, okay, yeah, you got this. So they give us a drink of water and all that. The ladies were like, yeah, I think it's just. She even said, she's like, I think it's just coffee brands. You're fine. She was just like, don't get psyched out. And I was like, already psyched out because I was like, Aaron said you weren't gonna, like you said you weren't gonna do this. I was so mad at him.
Oh
And
man,
then
man.
we
Wow.
went up there.
So yeah, and this was it was tough. You got like a weird picture of whipped cream. It was on a whisk, which is
Whisk. That
not
thing- that
necessarily
amuses me.
yeah.
No, like I said, it threw me off because I was so shook. Even he would look me in the eye. He's like, sorry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
But he's like, the 20
you were
is
shook.
here. I was
And-
shook.
Yeah.
and
I blame it on the friend factor. I'm like, you were my buddy. And we didn't
Yeah.
think we were gonna duel. Like we were on opposite ends of the floor. So
Yeah.
Um,
I also think the luck of like because you miss whipped cream, which I think probably in their minds counted as an easy one, it threw off the balance a little bit, and then you wound up getting stuck with some harder ones that maybe he would have gotten if you had gotten whipped cream because he had. You got some hard ones. You got a really hard ones, honestly, and you got got some of them right, like Kaluuya at the end, and I think you had espresso tamper. I don't think most people would have known that.
yeah, I had
I
no
didn't know
idea
what
what
that
that was. And
Yeah.
then it was I think it was
pour over.
pour over. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people people who are really into coffee know that, but it's a specific
that's
thing
the
you have
luck
to say.
aspect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I just got to note this, guys. Aaron won 7 duels in a row. At this point, nobody had won more than 5 duels in a row. I think the record was 5. He's tied the record. When they were like, you set the record. It was actually tying the record because I think he said that at 5. 6 was when he broke it. 7 was padding it. And he never hit single digits in seconds. He
Wow.
Domination.
The closest he came was 10 seconds, both buffet and high school. He had 10 seconds left. He won red carpet with 24 seconds. He won TED Talk with 46 seconds because he used his time boots. He won fictional creatures with 31 seconds, and he won coffee with 28 seconds. So easily the single greatest run domination that we've ever seen. There was a lot. There was manipulation afoot. There was using his knowledge of people and friendships, and it, like the betrayal was real. It wasn't fake, guys.
So yeah, the betrayal was very
The
real.
betrayal was real.
Yeah.
But he was like,
Could I ask you this, Ashley?
20K,
Because
yeah.
I really, I really feel like your journey, right, so far, and what we've seen in the first 4 episodes is the coolest, right? Because we've spoken about this previously in other podcast episodes where we felt you were underestimated a lot. We felt that people saw your category, and I don't know if you shared that you didn't want theme parks, because that was my theory. Now it's like maybe she shared that, and that's why people saw her as someone they can come after and feel comfortable with. Did you ever feel that you were being underestimated, like during the filming process at all? Because you were really quiet, you were really timid, you proved everybody wrong. I want to be clear that I love your story because of that, right? You were the underdog, you were constantly underestimated by even myself, right? There's a lot of people I spoke to said the same thing. Like, if I have a path to victory, I'm gonna go through theme parks. So you felt like someone that a lot of people were underestimating. So did you ever feel that at all?
Yeah. Oh, it was like very evident. Anyone that would ask me, what's your category? They'd be like, I would tell them, I'd be like, oh, I have theme parks. And they were like, oh. So then as soon as they would do that, as soon as they go, oh, I'm like, okay. Yeah, but you don't know what I know.
And so how good did it feel to not only defend theme parks, but essentially prove the whole floor wrong? And you're just you're the first one to do the category steal, you win the episode, and you defend theme parks, which is 3 things that nobody thought you could do. Like, how good did that feel?
So good. Again, it was nerve-wracking. It was like the first time I was up there and everything. My goal for sure was to keep playing. Like, I even like on the flight here, I was like, just if you go up there, keep going, like keep the momentum going. And so from the first duel, when I beat Aaron, I was just like, I was surprised because I didn't think that they caught nachos at the very end. So that was a total surprise. And then after that, I was just like, okay, no, like I got to keep going. So then, like I said, my goal was to go forward and then on, but then I saw that I was right there. And then that was Rob too. Rob put it in my head. He's like, oh, well, you're right there. And then I was just like, okay, let's do Rat Pack.
It was the right move. You got 20K.
Yeah.
It was.
That was like the only thing I think for Rob Lowe, but then other than that, go in hell there.
Yeah. Rob Lowe giveth and Rob Lowe taketh away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He is an agent of chaos out there. That's so funny.
He is.
Yeah. But it felt really good, yeah. And then everyone was like, "Oh, we had no idea," and I'm like, "Well, you didn't think theme parks was hard, so I had to defend it somehow."
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
$20,000.
$20,000.
$20K. And you were a treat to watch. The story was, like I said, I think so far is like the best one, just because of how underestimated you were, how timid you were and quiet. And it's really a lesson, right, as to not judge a book by its cover. And I feel like you really personified that. And that was pretty cool. I like that. I do have one question we like to ask before we let you guys go is any regrets? Any regrets about the experience at all? Any decision making that you might regret or anything like that?
I regret not staying up there.
After the category steal?
Yeah. After
Really?
the category steal, I wish I would have kept going, and my boyfriend asked me too. He's like, "Why didn't you keep going?" I was like, "I was beat. Like, I hadn't eaten.
Yeah,
it's exhausting.
We were filming for however long. I think it was just midday that day.
And you extra hadn't eaten, hadn't studied as much as you wanted, because after you win that money, they pull you into the booth immediately.
Yeah.
What would you have dueled?
The world was your oyster.
I know.
Do you want to hear what was around you at that time?
Yeah, just remind me.
Okay, so real quick, here we go. Around you, you had Wild West. Rick had inherited that. You had Geometry, which you said that you didn't really like. Sportscasters. New England. Oh, you were connected to Ghost Stories at this point.
That one.
You had... Oh, yeah, you... After beating... Brad, so yeah, you had Lisa Frank.
Yeah, you wanted both of
You
them.
could have gone on that run you were talking about.
See,
Lisa Frank and Scary Stories.
I think after the category steal. Go ahead.
Monopoly as well. You had a lot of others, sorry. But yes, you were next to Monopoly.
You were also attached to me.
Yeah. Entertainment judges.
Yeah, I do remember the producers were like, "Oh, you can move up where you were, Luke, like up where Ty was, and then move up from there. And then I remember thinking, well, on-screen judges is 2 tiles, or you had 2 or 3. It was like a long one.
4.
4.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I remember it was a long one. I was like, I could go up, and then I think what's her name? She had holiday foods.
Yeah.
She was
Kelsey.
right there too, like there in
Kelsey.
the middle.
Yep,
Yeah,
Kelsey
I think
was
I was gonna
bordering
go
you.
up her direction. I was gonna do
Okay.
holiday foods now that I liked coming back,
Okay.
and then up.
So, holiday foods, scary stories, Lisa Frank, entertainment
Right.
judges combo 3 of those 4.
Ghost stories.
And what?
Yeah.
Get a time, or yeah, scary stories, ghost stories, and then grab a time boost and then go back.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
So that
I-
was like the only regret. I would, yeah,
Sure.
I wish I would
I
have stayed
mean,
up there.
I get that in the sense of having more fun. I will say, strategy wise, it made way more sense to go back to the floor.
Yeah.
yeah. So there's 8. There was 9 more duels. Like, what are you?
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
Yeah,
it's just
you still have to survive
eventually-
for 6 duels.
eventually you'll have to go back to the floor anyway, and you just got a category swap. You have a category you felt comfortable with.
yeah.
Like it just felt like try to let the randomizer take some
Right.
people out. And to be honest, that is what was happening. There were
Mhm.
duels that were going down. It's just that Aaron went on this insane run,
run.
Yeah.
right?
Unexpected.
That nobody
Yeah.
has ever done before. Like literally, if this is any comfort, to beat you, someone had to do something that has never ever been done on the floor. And I'm going to put my money out there right now that season 5, this didn't happen either. So season 6 has not been filmed. We don't know when season 5 is coming out, but like, I'm going to put my money out there that this is the one and only time for probably a very long time that somebody's going to win 7 duels in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. Props to him.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
No, don't trust anyone on the floor.
There you go. That's brilliant.
Where
Noted.
should-
I trust
anything
Jonathan,
like
though.
that?
I trust Jonathan.
Oh, that's sweet.
Thanks again for having me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
Your pleasure and a treat.
Just keep
Yes.
watching the floor. I'm
Keep watching
excited
the
to see you guys, and after this, I have no idea what
Yeah,
happens.
it's
So
great.
I'm excited to keep
It
tuning
gets
in.
good. It gets
It gets
better.
good?
It keeps getting better.
It stays
no more
good. It
betrayal.
stays
It
good is
stays
what
good.
Sergio
It
means.
stays good.
It stays
Yeah.
good. All right. We'll see you. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
So before we head out, guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about our strategies going into episode 5, because this category swap changed everything for me. I went from wanting to just go after holiday foods and maybe go back and play the end game to now I'm like, car racing is right next to me. All I have to do is get through judges to then make my way to car racing. For as much as everybody hated that category, that was something I loved. I didn't want to duel Bo in it because I was afraid of Bo Bice in that category. But once it got absorbed, I was like, I don't think anyone can beat me in car racing, if I'm being honest. So for the first time in the filming process, I started studying judges really hard. I was going to come after you. That was my plan. This is my plan right now going into episode 5.
Spicy.
If I get randomized, I can go through Luke, challenge Luke, and then if I win that duel, I go into car racing, beat that one, and then if Kelsey's still next to me, go holiday foods, and then I time boost, go back to the floor, and I'm essentially feeling like I'm a shoo-in for the end game, because Mattel is still something that I just feel like it's a sacrifice if anybody comes after me. But this category still, like, people forget on how much it changed the dynamic. My strategy this was going into this day, it was my favorite day. I'm serious. The whole time I've been bummed because all I got is podcasters next to me. All I got is holiday foods, and I'm not comfortable with anything beyond that.
And
So I just felt really, and I didn't feel, I wasn't excited to be playing the game, if I'm being honest. It wasn't until that category still happened where I'm like, I've actually got a path to victory here. I can go through Luke, find car racing, and really start building some momentum. And I can't believe how much that changes, right? Like, from one simple act of the category still, now we have, to me, an opportunity to actually get a win here. So what was your guys' strategy going into this? After this happened, did it change your strategy at all? Because it sure as heck changed mine.
Well, I personally think this changed the entire strategy of every single person on the floor. And if somebody says that they didn't, then they're lying to me. It at least had to be considered. The reality is, in the history of this game, it's only season 4. Who knows how long the show will go on? Season 1 only had 81 people, but at this point in the game, we already said last week, the whale, which was Ashley, had more pieces of the floor at the end of episode 3 than anyone ever has at the end of episode 3. Well, guess
Can
what?
you break down like what each season had at the end of their episode 4? So season 1 of the floor, after 4 episodes, the biggest whale that they had was 2 people that had 12 each.
Correct.
After the 4th episode of season 2, the biggest whale was 13 pieces of territory. Season 3, after episode 4, we had a total of 11 for the biggest whale. Our season 4, after episode 4, our whale, Aaron, has 25 pieces of the floor. That is more than double of the median for the previous 3 seasons.
And not only that, the floor is quite literally split in half, meaning that half of the people on the left, half of the people on the right, the only way to get to categories that are on the other side of this great divide, let's call it the Grand Canyon, the only way to get through the Grand Canyon is going through the whale. But if if you absorb it, if you do that, you now become the biggest target. Look, whales are always the biggest target in the floor because people see that as a path to $20,000 at the end of the episode. But the reality is, in some seasons, you got 2, maybe even 3 people where it's like, I can create my own whale. I don't have to necessarily beat this one person. At the end of this episode, it is very clear. Nobody for the rest of the season. It's only episode 4. At the end of episode 4, it was, hey, creating your own whale is officially over. You either beat the current champion or you try to hide, because that's the only options you have. You cannot create your own whale at this point. It's done.
Yeah, you could not earn your way into 20K anymore. You couldn't accumulate the spaces to win the episode. Your only chance was to take on that whale. So it became very clear after episode 4, you're either going for 20K or you're going for the end game, 250K. There was really no in between. But the dynamic I think that was crazier with this great divide, the Grand Canyon, was that if you saw a category that was so far away from you, it was now an actual possibility to get to it within 1 or 2 duels, right? So if you're on one corner on the right side, you challenge the whale, you were just 2 or 3 duels away from getting to something that you thought was not even a possibility.
That you never thought, right? Right.
Yeah, and so Aaron has pioneered that. It's even if you're at the edge, now you've seen someone else do it. Everyone's confidence in that way, in snagging that whale, has gone up. Even if you're still a little nervous about maybe individual duels, everyone sees, oh, he was so far from it, and he made it possible to win money. And suddenly this game, it becomes the game, which is what the producers want. It's the game of playing for the money of that episode. If you were randomized, then go for that money. That's the guarantee. That's such an easier way to win money on this show than to try and play the long game of 250. Like, it just feels so much more tangible.
Yeah, and not everybody's going to feel that way. However, the possibility of it, I think, is more clear to people than it ever has been before, especially this early in the game.
100%.
And the other thing, to your point, Sergio, three of the edges are already touching the whale. At the end of this episode, we have literally the whale is touching the north edge, the south edge, and whatever. I'm using directional terms, but the west edge, right?
Cardinal directions. But yeah, and it's almost hitting the west. Yeah, it's like,
well, it hit
you could be on the east side and find yourself on the west within 2-3 duels. That's
it's not far. Right? It's not far from the right and left hand side, essentially. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's literally touching the left hand side because the whale has viral. Sorry, the whale has Bo and Kiera's, right? And so it's touching Chipbrand.
That's
it's
right.
not Chipbrand. Sorry, it's touching Monopoly. Monopoly. And then if you get Monopoly, you're on the edge, and then you're already touching.
Yeah, so it's so close.
It's also touching west. It's also touching Wild West. So it's touching
on the west side of the board.
Completely on the west side of the board. Yeah, a little bit. The east side, not as much.
Theories come out.
Anyway,
So
that's funny.
we've never. So just to be clear, we have never seen anything
Never
like
seen
this
anything
in
like
the 3
this.
previous seasons. And this was something we as contestants, as soon as episode 4 was over, mind you, this is the end of the filming day. We filmed 2 episodes the first day, 2 episodes the second day. So as we're leaving episode 4, all the conversations that we're having is about this. What are you going to do? It's 20K or bust. It's 20K or end game. Like, we don't have your strategy going into this is completely different now, because you can't behave in the manner that you were planning already, because we have an actual grand ocean in between us, right? And you can feel the tensions just, they shifted. They went from being, hey, we're 2 days in, we're feeling comfortable, we're having fun with this, to like, what is going on? And
So
what are we going to do now?
to answer your other question about what we were thinking, so I'm literally touching the whale now. Luke is touching the whale. You are one win away from touching the whale. Harry Potter's the whale, bro. It's not even a question.
Everyone wants it.
Everyone wants it. Not everyone, but I do. Like, I know Kurt was
Jonathan.
I was like, Harry Potter. Harry Potter. I think we even talked about this. I was watching Harry Potter on the flights here. I've seen all the Harry Potter movies. I've read most of the books. I studied Harry Potter when we got the list of 100. Like, I was already prepping for
Seamus
this.
Finnegan like that.
Oh, Seamus is
No,
great.
I remember you, Jonathan, saying, because Harry Potter was initially 2 duels away from you, and you said, if I can make my way to Harry Potter, I am gonna feel great. I remember you being so clear about how badly you wanted to duel Harry Potter, and the lack of fear you had in it. So, with it being the whale now, it's pretty obvious to me what your plan is.
So, and also we were already in the center. Like, we're already in the middle. We can't really. The edges can barely hide from the whale. The center has absolutely zero chance of hiding. So it's like one of these things of, we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's leave it there, because I don't want to get into it. We'll see what happens.
What about you, Luke?
Yeah, what about you, Luke?
I mean, I'm in the exact same boat. It's just like, the only thing I know is I'm not going to get randomized. Right. But so somebody's going to try and move through me.
You. Yeah.
That's the other thing, right? Is like, from on top of me, like where Charlie is, and then it just keeps going up. If you hit me as opposed to someone else, you get those 2 vertical pieces that get you to the whale. So I'm just like, all right, I see myself as a barrier of entry to maybe 5, 6, 7 players. Yeah. And so I know I got to study those judges.
You got to study judges, because people are going to come for you.
Exactly. I'm just a barrier now. People want to hit me so they can hit the whale.
Correct.
So I go, after that episode,
Sergio.
I'm like, all right, time to study more judges.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So can I ask you this, Luke? Did you feel any of that from me? Because I did make a conscious effort. Every time I thought about coming after somebody like Kelsey initially, I distanced myself a bit from them, because it got awkward, right? Did you feel me at all change my demeanor towards you once car racing happened? Or was that kind of just nothing you noticed?
No, if you changed your demeanor, you had a great poker face.
There we go.
Yeah, but there were other people that did change their demeanor, and I'm not going to name drop them because I don't want it to sound like I'm like talking to. But there were people that I was like, oh, like, you're like not talking to me in the morning the way you did yesterday, and it's like, oh yeah, duh, you're one of these people that's up here that could see me as a path to the whale.
That's how I get to the whale.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just another head you need to chop off.
Well, this easily has been the most aggressive up until this point. This has been the most aggressive season of the floor that's ever been. I think the producers are happy. I think audiences are happy. Honestly, this is a thing people have been asking for a while, and now we've gotten it. We literally got 2 category steals used in one episode, as well as a time boost used, and the floor is divided in half, and everything's changed. So
yeah, it's going to provoke action at this point. So buckle up. I'm excited to see what the next couple episodes bring.
Going to episode 5. Thank you for listening to our 7-hour-long podcast. We will continue to bring the scoop and have some great guests for you next week. We'll see you then, guys.
Appreciate it, guys.
Bye, y'all.